Morning, folks. Not sure what they got going over there, but it's spring. That means branding time. I imagine that's what they're doing. There's usually, there's a couple of horse trailers over there, it looks like. I bet that's what they're doing. I miss doing that. When we first moved here in '91, we got in on a lot of brandings, and they were fun. Back then, most folks still roped them with a horse and drug them over by the fire, and we branded them with a hot iron out of the fire. Most of the time it was a propane fire, but nowadays a lot of them are using electric branding irons and a calf table, which takes kind of some of the fun away from it. With the horseback, the guy on the horse would drag it over to you, and you'd grab tail and head and flip them on their side and hold them down while the guy come over and branded them. The calf table, basically you run them into a squeeze box, and then it tips on its side, and you brand them and you tip it back and let them out. That's just more like vaccinating cattle or something. The old fun way. You got beat up a lot, but it was more fun. Got a picture here on the wall. One of them we were at had to be probably 91, I imagine, maybe 92. Cindy with the vaccinating gun. I'm over here. I got a hold of a calf with, you see the rope coming down from the horse here. About to have a hold of a calf. This guy here, I'm thinking, is probably Lothar. He was a German fella that we knew, and he has since moved away. Them were the good old days. It was fun. Here's a couple other old pictures. Not sure, this had to be about the same time. This is Cindy along with a horse we used to have called Dixie. The lady actually made postcards and sold them with that picture. This one over here, that's me and Cody guiding hunters in the snow. That was a miserable day, but that was a fun adventure. Here's Cody again with a pretty decent buck we found and packed out. Got this for one of the hunters. Kind of getting blurry. I sure miss that horse. He was a good one. The guy that shot that deer, the one in the picture there with Cody, he was from New Jersey, and he was actually mafia. Not a nice guy. Kind of a scary fella to be around. That was a long week. A really long week. We finally ended up in a yelling match there toward the end, and by that time I didn't care who got shot. Well, it was going to be one of us, but we managed to kind of patch it up, and both of us got away unhurt. It wasn't fun. That was a bad trip. Nice deer though. I'm not sure what they were doing over there. Don't think they were branding. There wasn't enough people, and they weren't there long enough. They ran those cows in, and that was about all. So I don't know for sure when their turnout date is. It's usually somewhere around May 10th or so, I think. But they might be getting ready to move them up onto the open range here. That might be all that was. But anyhow, today was just another day of boring work stuff. So I figured, what the heck, let's run up here and see if anything's been to this bear bait or not. We have a guy and a dog here. A lot of people kick their dogs out and let them run ahead of them. Kind of looks like what's going on here. Oh yeah, that's what's happening. Anyway, that's what he was doing, was just letting his dog run, a little exercise. But stopped over at the butcher's to get some more meat scraps, and there wasn't any. I do have, hopefully, nah, they're still upright. Forgot about them. Don't want to go around the corner too fast and spill them, but I do have 2 5-gallon jugs of cooking oil back there. I'll bring that up, and I don't know, maybe something's been here, maybe there hasn't. Usually, in other years, it usually takes about 2 weeks or so for them to find the bait. The other thing that might be going on is that the bears, when they hibernate, the enzymes and things in their stomach go dormant. They kind of quit working. And so when they first come out of hibernation, they aren't interested in stuff like meat. They might go over and smell it, but that's about all. They're more into grazing grass and that kind of thing to get their guts working again. And in other years, I guess they changed it a couple years ago. I never really knew it. But in other years, the season never opened until April 15th. And so by then, it would take about 2 weeks or so for them to find my bait and keep coming to it. I don't remember when I put it out this year. It wasn't the 15th, but it wasn't the 1st either. So, I don't know. That might be partly what's going on. I really don't know. Go up here and check the camera and see if anything's been here or not. Yeah, a bunch of deer right here. Something else I'd like to get out and do, but never seems to be time in the spring, is to go look for some drop antlers. With the horse sale and the horse sale cleanup and high school rodeo, oh, here's a bunch more. I didn't even see them. Never seems to be time enough for that. Horn hunting, as they call it around here, antler hunting, it's a pretty popular deal. When we first moved here and we were doing ranch work and stuff, we had, I mean, even though it's ranch work where you have no days off, we actually had a little more time on the weekends and things. We'd go out and find some. But most of the ones I found just doing other things. You know, you're out, you know, hunting or, you know, who knows what. You come across an antler here and there. But I haven't never really found very many when I went out just actually looking for them. But it's one of those things where you can make some money at it. A couple of years ago, I don't know what they're buying them for now, but a couple of years ago they were $14 a pound. And you know, a decent size elk antler can weigh 10 pounds. So $140 to go out and hike the hills and find a horn. If you're lucky, you find both sides. And a lot of times, if it's a big elk, they'll give you more than that because it's a match set. There's people that come around and they advertise that they're buying antlers and stuff, and I've always had kind of a hard time selling them. Not that there's not a market for it, but it's just they're kind of neat, you know. They're things that I don't really want to sell that badly, but the money in it's good. I really probably should have sold some. I have sold some that I've made into things later, but I have a hard time just getting rid of them after I find them. Talk about pretty. Besides checking the bear bait, these dogs are having bush biting withdrawals. Okay, so here we are at the bear bait. And the lid is off of that barrel. So that's a good sign. Most likely it was a bear. The wind might have done it, but I don't think so. There's still bait in there. Most of the meat, the fresh meat, is gone though. I'll check the camera and see what we got. Well, being that the bait was gone and the lid was off, had to be a bear that come by and took it. This trail camera I'm using up here is that Blue Peak one that they sent me to try. I really like that camera. It has the solar panel in it and stuff, and it doesn't really use any batteries. It has batteries, but it goes through them so slow, it's almost like not needing them. But one thing I don't like about that camera is whatever system it uses, it won't work with my camera card reader. I can make it look, I can see it on my computer, but I can't see it on my camera card reader. So until I get home, I'll have no idea just what was on that card. So, by golly, gotta wait and see.